What if gravity had no effect on you? So this is it's not everybody. This hypothetical is just you personally.
Just you.
Just
no
you.
objects are affected. Your clothes aren't affected.
Yeah, your clothes and objects still have gravity and effect, but just basically the mass that makes up your body is not attracted by gravity, is not affected by the forces of gravity. Ben, what do you got for this one?
Yeah. So I decided to look into sort of the health ramifications of not having gravity on you, because obviously, you know, we've all heard about like the things that astronauts go through when they're up in the space station or whatever. So, sort of in general, you really have two main. There are a lot of some other like weird health problems where like one of the big ones is like our bodies are evolved in a way that the fluid in our bodies is not distributed evenly. It you know sort of is more towards the ground because of gravity, and our bodies are, you know, prepared for that. But without gravity, the fluid like moves up further into your body, and apparently it's just kind of, it's not like a real health risk. It just makes you look kind of funny for a little while. Apparently.
What?
Apparently it's like
funny.
Well, no, like when people talk about being like moon faced, they're literally talking about like when astronauts first go up, like their faces get bloated because there's just more fluid in their faces.
Whoa.
Yeah. Fun fact. But
I can't decide if this means our bodies are great or bodies are stupid.
Bodies are weird.
It's just like, oh, we don't have gravity, so we're going to put all the fluids up in your face. But my body can just handle a whole bunch of fluids being in the wrong spot.
Right. It's kind of crazy, right? But the two real problems you're going to have, so the first one is bone density. So, you know, your body, basically, there's like two processes your body goes through. Let me actually grab the names of those really quickly. They are, oh man. So it signals osteoblasts and osteoclasts. And osteoblasts, where is it?
That's a cool name.
Yeah, osteoblasts.
It's like a wizarding school, like, oh, I learned how to do osteoblast in my osteoclast.
Right, seriously. Osteoblast basically is what breaks down your bones, and osteoclast rebuilds them. And generally, this is happening all the time in our bodies. It's just they're happening sort of in pairs, you know? So you keep roughly the same amount of bone you started with. But
I don't like that mental
this
image, Ben. Leave my bones alone.
This is all controlled by the... Basically, your body is responding to the stresses on your bones. So when you have less stress on your bones, the bone density goes down. And when you're not affected by gravity, the bones that support, specifically the bones that support the weight of the body, so like your legs, hips, and like the lower part of your spine, will all start losing density. And specifically, they lose it. So there's a NASA study in 2001 that showed a loss of 1% to 2% per month on average. And sort of for comparison, you know, when you get older, you start losing bone density just naturally. But that is about 1 to 1.5% per year. So much more quickly, actually, than just like, you know, your grandmother, you're going to have somewhat brittle bones if you don't try to do, you know, anything to counteract this.
Also, if it's 1 to 2% per month, after about 60 months, you're
not
gonna have
any
no bones.
You have no bones.
You're going to be in bone debt.
Yeah,
I can only assume the scariest skeleton. He's in bone debt.
Oh man. So also not just your bones.
No, can we go back?
We will go back to
bone debt
debt.
means.
Bone debt.
How do you pay off a bone debt?
You got to get a bone loan.
Yeah, you gotta get it from your boner.
Get on your bone phone. Call up a bone loan.
Get on your bone phone. Call up your boner. He's gonna get you some bones.
We're dumb.
What are we talking about?
Space. No, not space. Gravity, and not it. Okay. So beyond just bone density, you'll all start losing muscle mass for basically, you know, the same reason. So, you know, the muscles that your body uses to counteract gravity. So like your calves and quads, and then like back and neck muscles specifically, will start just deteriorating because you're not using them. I mean, yeah, that's how muscle works. And apparently this one, so another NASA study, they found that if they didn't like exercise while they're, up there. On a space flight of 5 to 11 days, they would lose around 20% of their muscle mass. So that one actually goes really quickly.
So 5 to 12. So 5 to 12 days lose 20%. So what if they're up there for 25 to 60 days, Ben? Do you go into muscle debt?
Yes. Apparently.
Get a muscle loan.
We're not going to repeat the jokes. You get it.
We're going to repeat every single one, but just replace the word bone with muscle.
Yeah, so sort of the effect of those. So bone density, you basically just have osteoporosis. So you're going to have like back pain. You're going to get shorter over time because your bones are going to shrink. Your posture will be worse, which actually I don't know if that one's really true because there's no gravity on you. So maybe your posture is just fine, I guess, actually. And sort of the biggest one, the most important one is that most important point is that your bones will fracture much more easily, which is not ideal. So actually, honestly, the rest of them, I think, aren't a huge deal for you most of the time. The fractures, I think, are a very real problem because as Marcus has laid out, you're going to fall over and like hit yourself on things. And pretty soon your legs are going to just be like dry spaghetti. So you're going to kind of want, to sort of avoid that. Muscle mass, honestly, I actually don't think is a huge deal because like these are muscles that by definition you're not using really anymore. So I think it's actually not that much of a problem. Like it's not great still, but you can kind of survive it. Oh, also fun thing with the bone density loss, all that calcium goes into your bloodstream, so you have a higher chance of kidney stone. So that's cool.
Oh God.
So this is kind of the point where you have a choice to make, which is, are you going to fully commit to the no gravity lifestyle? Because if you are, I don't think you have to worry about, like, the bone part's not great. You're going to have to try to counteract that somewhat, but the muscle mass you can kind of ignore, and most of the bone stuff you can ignore too. You're just like, fuck it, I'm going to float everywhere. Like, you can just, don't hit your legs, you'll be fine.
You mean, like, you're not going to try to weigh yourself down?
Right, yeah. But I think that's going to be a very difficult life because you can just, like, once again, fly away accidentally pretty easily.
We lost balloon.
So, probably what you're going to have to do is basically simulate gravity on yourself. Because, so like the way they counteract these things on like the space station is basically through a large amount of exercise. Apparently people on the space station have 6 days a week, a 2.5 hour time block for exercise, where they do like a stationary bike, a treadmill that they like strap themselves onto, and then something called the ARED. It's the Advanced Resistive Exercise Device. I couldn't get enough details, but I will just read off the passage I have. It basically uses 2 canisters to create small vacuums that astronauts can pull against with a long bar, and they can do like squats and bench presses and stuff like that. I don't understand this vacuum part. I guess the idea is that because you can't use weights, obviously, for very clear reasons in space, they have to like do a weird science instead, and use a vacuum.
Do a science.
But do a science, like you do. But I mean, fortunately,
you're not going to need this because you have
exactly,
just normal weights.
You just basically what you need is a treadmill and just some weights. But importantly, you are going to have to make it seem like gravity is acting on you at the time in order for your legs to not just like die. So what you can do is get a weighted vest. So weighted vests people use like in like endurance running training. They'll just put on a vest that has like man, I am starting to go a little loopy, guys. This is fun. Has like 20 pounds or whatever of weight in it just to like increase the resistance on yourself and like, get benefits that way. But I was looking on Amazon, you can actually buy a weighted vest that goes up to 140 pounds for about $300. So that's like a human
not
weight.
Bad.
So theoretically, you can buy this, wear this, and you are basically just like, I'm like 170 pounds, but 140 gets you close enough that you're basically just a normal person wearing a weird vest. The one weird thing is that even though you will have the like gravity effect of a 140 pound person. You will have the like lateral momentum of a 310 pound person in my case.
Oh, no.
Which is kind of fun. So you have to kind of get used to that. But otherwise, yeah, I think you just have to, you're going to have to like, I don't know how much time you can actually spend weightless. I couldn't figure out, there was no way to actually like, no one has done research on how long you could be weightless and not have like bone density loss. So I think you could do it part of the time and be okay probably, as long as you like, run frequently and like lift weights frequently. You can get by pretty well with a weighted vest situation. But I think you would probably actually have some pretty severe problems if you try to just like be weightless all the time. So not quite as fun as we had maybe hoped, but livable, which is, better than a lot of these go. So
Yeah, I like the committing to the weightlessness, and then just knowing one day there'll be a stiff breeze that'll blow your brittle body like a tumbleweed into a brick wall.
And you will literally be wrapped around a tree.
Yeah, and you will crumple up around a tree, and that will be the end of you. You'll just be like a discarded plastic bag.
Yep.
Down the sidewalk.
You ever feel like a plastic bag?
I was going to say the same thing.
That's what that song's about.